Tonight on Joy News Prime, Ochehini endorses the burning of excavators and other mining equipment used in illegal mining, saying though it hurts, it has become necessary.
Say, also TV now say, machine be obia koto, near the tumwa, and ahometi. Now so, as one dinty, Ujana, or Sharasayo.
The National Women's Organizer of the governing NPP, whose company's mining equipment were burnt in a recent operation by government anti-Galamsey task force, is however contesting claims that their operations are illegal. The destruction of the company's equipment, meanwhile, comes on the back of remarks by the Asantehene pointing fingers at bigwigs he says are complicit in the Galamsey menace.
Galamsey ya them have mechemu chemu se you hani chemu miensa emu be 30% ni mo ma ye Galamsey ni nyina.
Lapses in Ghana's land management systems blamed for the raging conflict fueled by land guardism.
This is Kaswa, and this part of town is called Peace Town. But I tell you what, there is nothing peaceful about this town.
Almost almost a max.
That's tonight's Hotline documentary. The Ashanti Region Security Coordinator, who was allegedly assaulted by the pro-MPP vigilante group, is accusing the police of releasing the suspects who were arrested for the crime. In business, plans are underway to ensure all Ghanaians with SIM cards re-register with national IDs. Vice President Dr. Mamadou Bamia says this is to curb cyber fraud.
Everybody will have to register their SIM with a national ID number. So we all have to do that, otherwise we lose that SIM.
Some traders affected by demolition exercise by the AMA Sunday night appealed to government to intervene. My name is Israel, and Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Fanfa studios at Kokolimle here in Accra, or your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is a home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. A couple has died at Ahinema Kokobe in the Ashanti region following heavy rains Sunday dawn. Doi Banda and his wife, Joyce Lawe, lost their lives when a wall collapsed on a temporary structure serving as their accommodation. Love Films Naya Jima visited the area and filed this report.
For
about 2 years, the family lived in the temporary structure. The man worked as an artisan and the wife a petty trader. Yao Ejari, the caretaker of the house, gave out the space to the couple. I came here to realize the walls have fallen. I didn't see anyone. It was another man who came in to see what has happened. According to residents, the area is prone to flooding. The rains on Sunday caused the fence wall of their home to fall. Yao Ejari again. The owner of the land wanted to use the room as storeroom for building materials. They came to me requesting for the room, and I offered it to them. They have taken care of the place very well. I'm sad by their demise. Initial investigations from the National Disaster Management Organization reveals due to the enormity of the ration water, it couldn't go through this space created in the walls, so it had to force the walls down. NADMO Operations Director at Achuma Kwangoma, Kofi Totime, explains the disaster is preventable.
This situation is preventable. We ascertain that, this house was built before this man came to proud the land. And he has prouded the land for the foundation of the wall to be hanging when it rains, because that place is very huge on top. So with the speed that the rain comes or the water comes, that is what has caused this.
Assembly member for the area, Kwesi Adabo, says poor drainage system contributes to perennial flooding of the area.
though there are magnificent houses in this community, but when they finish, they fail to construct a gutter. So it is a problem in this town.
In another incident, a 70-year-old woman and 2 children got injured when part of their homes collapsed following rains at Dompasi in the Asokwa municipality. The 3 are receiving treatment at the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital. This weekend's downpour has rendered families homeless. For Joy News, Nana Ojima reporting.
Asante Regional Security Coordinator DCOP Ayenso Pariado, retired, has taken on the police there for releasing some members of the Delta Force Vigilante group who forcefully removed him from office. Members of the pro-MPP group, claiming they were acting on orders from above, last week stormed DCOP Pariado's office to remove him. Although the police arrested the Delta Force members, DCOP Pariado says they were released almost immediately. He's been speaking with Emefa Pao on the Midday News.
They came to the office about 5 p.m. and said that they've been directed to bring me to the National Security Coordinator. I said I won't go. They handcuffed me, pushed me here and there. And the police came in, pointed an AK-47 at me. The police came there and picked us to the regional police headquarters. The case is under investigation with the police. But unfortunately, they haven't got the 7 persons who came to my office to humiliate me in this way and assault me in this way. They told me the acting National Security Coordinator had asked them to come to pick me to Accra. And I said it was quite unfortunate. I won't go to Accra. They handcuffed me. They locked the door, took the key. Even the key is still with them. They locked the door, took the key, and took all my phones, 3 of them, and that of the secretary, and started asking questions. And after that, they handcuffed me and said they were taking me to Accra. I said, no, I won't go. So we started struggling. And they pointed an AK-47 at me that I will go with them, regardless of what I say.
Have you been updated exactly on what it is that is going on?
Well, I haven't asked the police about anything again. Certainly, I'll go to the police and find out what developments are. I was working with them. They wanted to say they will go and collect monies from people, and people will be calling me, telling me they've come to collect this that amount. And even the Insura FM did a program where Mustafa, one of them called staff, will be going to those who had brought items from Nigeria and say that, and the Central Regional Security Coordinator says you should give him money, and you take 10,000 from them, bring them to me. That he's bringing them that money to me, and I never did send him anywhere. So I informed one of them who is supposed to be the leader of the Delta Force group, that this is what your man is doing. It's been broadcast on Insura FM. So tell him I want to see him. Now those guys came to me and said they were afraid I should let him go. So I warned him. He came and knelt before me in the office in the presence of Mohammed Saidu. And from that time, I told them, no, if this is the behavior you want to put up, the president said he is not interested in Galamsey and the other things that are happening, so I can.
Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Tedu Gyamfi, is asking the police to arrest and prosecute individuals involved in the practice of recording insightful comments over the Wesley Girls Senior High School saga. According to Reverend Gyamfi, some comments on social media could inflame passions and also exacerbate the situation, leading a delegation to pay a courtesy call on the National Chief Imam over the issue. The Peace Council Chair observed that the Education Ministry, together with the relevant stakeholders, are drafting a comprehensive MOU to bring lasting solution to the issue. The MOU, he says, would also capture the rights and privileges of every Ghanaian student. He spoke with my colleague, Kwesi Parker Wilson.
Well, we've seen all kinds of videos and audios running across the country on social media, and we think that those things are not helpful. They just fuel the situation. We are appealing to all those who are doing that to put a stop to it, give the Peace Council the space to do what we ought to do to bring peace to this country.
Do you think the security must act on this?
Well, when it borders on security, they have a responsibility. But for some of them, we think that they are just people who are overzealous, over-passionate about it.
You agree that it could destabilize the country?
Yes, we have met.
It could inflame passion as well.
We have met with some of them. Okay. Yeah, the first video that came, we've met with the gentleman involved. We had a 3.5-hour meeting with him. We've discussed all the issues about the content of that video and its implications to the general public. And so those things have been done. Certain steps are being taken at the background to deal with all those issues so that we can tone down the tension in the country.
But the security should clearly crack the grip on those who does that.
Well, some of them, I think that the security might have to come in because we have heard the original audio tape, which has now been doctored with a video composition with pictures. And you wonder who is doing this. Some of them are old things that came out. One of them that I heard yesterday, it originated in 2019. When the issue of the airport takeover came up, that was when that audio tape thing came up. And yesterday, I saw a caption that Christian Council speaks against the Turkish embassy, big headlines, but this is not a recent issue. So people are bringing all kinds of things from outside into this matter. And that is what the country must be cautious of, that we don't allow these individuals to knock our heads together and create confusion in our country.
On this part, National Chief Imam Sheikh Osman Nur Shaributu is urging the public to eschew acts which could breach the peace.
Let's remember, Ghana, God has been gracious to us by the peace He has given to us, and that He didn't make us other nations, but He made us Ghanaians. We, practitioners of different faith, are able to live in peace and harmony. But our origin can be traced from two people, our two human progenitors, Adam and Eve. And then we were also made into races and tribes. This diversity that God created, is it that He wants us to come and be engulfed in conflicts amongst ourselves? In the Holy Quran, God has been explicit in explaining the wisdom behind this diversity. He said the reason is to make you, in the light of your different identities, to complement and understand each other, so you can help each other. Not that you should come and be at each other's throat in conflict. No, just to be at war with each other. No. I'm advising and I desire that we apply what God said in the Holy Quran. All of us, let's apply it, so that we don't disturb the peace that we have built over these years. It's a very huge favor from God. He has not done so to other nations. Just observe nations surrounding our country. They have had their fair shares of conflict, terrible ones. Look at it in Ghana here. Muslims and Christians have lived in peace for all this time. We are able to sit on the same chair, around the same table, and we are able to consult ourselves. This kind of favor or grace, let us not destroy it with violence. Both of us, I mean both Muslims and Christians. This is the little that I want to add.
Taking a break here on Joy News Prime, but still ahead in the bulletin, lapses in Ghana's land management systems blamed for the raging conflict fueled by landguardism.
This is Kaswa, and this part of town is called Peace Town. But I tell you what, there is nothing peaceful about this town.
By no multi motos, part 12, almost a max, almost catch them so many almost inside our
That's tonight's Hotline documentary. Some traders affected by demolition exercise by the AMA Sunday night appealed to government to intervene.
Then call out for me don't be cohin. Colonna pass yes slap buying. Yes sleno. Yes fly your baby who your mob pot. About your mob pot.
And then Ochehene endorses the burning of excavators and other mining equipment used in illegal mining, say though it hurts, it has become necessary.
Say, also TV now say, machine be obi akoto, ne di da tumwa, ana ahometi. Na so aso odinti. Ujanwa, oshara sayo.
Now, meanwhile, comes on the back of remarks by the Santini pointing fingers at bigwigs he says are complicit in the Galamsey mess.
Galamsey ye can them have mechemu ye chemu se me ya you ha ne chem miensa emu be 30% ni mo ma ye Galamsey ni nyina.
We're back in a bit.
Galamsey
Ochehene Osagyefo-Muitia Ofori-Paying has justified the burning of excavators being used for illegal mining, saying though it hurts, government has no other option than to destroy the equipment to deter illegal miners from destroying the country's water bodies. He also lauded the efforts of the Ochimang Environmental Task Force, whose work, he says, is making an impact. Ochehene cited the Brim River, he says, is gradually being restored after the task force started its operations in Chebi and its environs. Addressing the Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources when she paid a courtesy call on him, Osagyefo-Muitia Ofori-Paying, however, asked that government provide alternate means for those whose livelihood will be affected by the ongoing exercise.
Me say, also TV now say, machine be obi akoto, ne di da tumwa, ana ahometi. Na so aso odinti. Ujanwa, oshara sayo.
When you put on the TV and see the burning of these excavators, I admit it's disturbing. But if you leave them, they will be back on site again. But this same Galamsey that brings you money is hunting others and families are losing their relatives. We need to stop and find alternative means to employ these people involved in Galamsey. We can embark on an afforestation project to employ them to reclaim the lands they've destroyed. Government can find money for that. But we have asked them to stop Galamsey on a number of occasions, but they are still destroying our water bodies.
Ya kanidi kanye to sumenu miensa nainum munya insuo no na oda so se no prao ofio ankobia bremu ni nyina poto ti esi mu se potem ha de e be stress yen de no e be ni.
Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, Madam Cecilia Abnadapa, on her part, said a lot more will have to be done if the destruction to the water bodies is to be reversed.
I read my speech. I can't send me no business here.
Na chebiha usensuya na yefre bibi turbidity level eno ne na odaroma particles anase ne manema ne namsuo no mu no sania e mansuo nani esiye samre no 209 no na ye 5 enum sesi america say ye bebo nsema ma chebi se nsuo nani no e free 5 no akọ aduasa enum, which is still within the limits. Inti ebebo na na abaso say ahunidi a ye di nsuo no a ye di ha no me koye ye machines no mu no ye krogen na ukobu nso ana na odaroma ho de fantini be se so omonyo e free 209 no na ye 46 say drew 4,700 enye kura no ne tumi ema machines season no eno de e wo say di ho dwuma na manfo mo hunu nsuo no ye mo mo jai osino de no kura de nana e bro bunsu de no so osino de no e free 51 209 no e drew 5,877.
Madam Cecilia Abnadapa, who is inspecting some water intake points in the Eastern region, added that governments have secured funding for the construction and improvement of 8 different potable water supply systems across the country to ensure that every citizen gets potable drinking water by the year 2030. Now, the National Women's Organizer of the governing NPP has claimed ownership of the mining equipment recently set ablaze by government's military task force mandated to crack down on illegal mining in the country. The Operation Halt task force burned at least 20 excavators and many other mining equipment being used for illegal mining in the Eastern region. 8 of the excavators and 1 of the bulldozers destroyed are said to belong to the NPP National Women's Organizer, Kate Jemfua. Now, the NPP National Women's Organizer, in a letter to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, is however contesting claims that they were mining illegally. Kukusanti joins me via Zoom with a copy of the petition. Now, so the NPP National Women's Organizer, Kate Jemfua, writing as General Manager of Extra Gold, says the company is not involved in illegal mining. Does she provide any such proof?
Right, Israel. This company in this letter that we addressed to the Honorable Minister for Lands and Natural Resources tries to provide some evidence. And let me read to you portions of the letter that was addressed to the Minister. It says, Extra Gold Mining is the holder of 5 concessions in the Eastern region. Our company has conducted alluvial mining and exploration activities since 2006, and all our leases are in good standing. We are aware that the military has been recently sent out to destroy all illegal miners' equipment. We have enclosed the map outlining the leases, and they say they will be grateful if the minister could provide that map and permit to the commander leading the military so that they will not destroy their installations in the forest. And they add some documents. For instance, the first one is the mining exploration operating permit that was granted this company by the Minerals Commission, and it reads, license is hereby granted to Kunedu Samuel Asare of Extra Gold, Ebuakwa South Municipality, within the area described in the endorsement hereon. To prospect outside the district above is not permitted except by the issue of a further prospecting license. So that is the mining exploration operating permit that was granted by the Minerals Commission. There's also another mining operating permit that is attached to this letter to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources that says that Extra Gold Mining Limited, his servants and agents, to carry on mining on land comprised within the following limits as specified in a schedule to their mining lease number LVD 1895, situated at Banfo in the Tiwa district of the Eastern region. So they attach these documents to the letter they addressed to the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources to claim that they really have permits to mine in these areas, and that the minister must attach some of these letters and the map that they've attached to the military commanders so that their excavators and other instruments in the forest will not be destroyed by the military, as was witnessed this weekend.
All right, thank you very much, Kweku Asante. Now, the involvement of highly connected persons in illegal mining has been an open secret for a while, though none of the people alleged to be involved have been prosecuted yet. The suggestion of complicity by none other than Asante Hene at last week's Anti-Galamsey Forum in Kumasi has, however, added weight to the speculation and may probably be what will be required to take on the bigwigs, who have all this while seemed untouchable. Let's hear what Otumfuo II said at the forum.
Before I read my speech, I can't be me no business here. And regional minister ne meba Jina Pomba and almost say na pachoya can the work ratano so me say my prince me kana. And just I know me say bia me can some fufrobia e den kakra.
Yesterday at my palace, the regional minister and the lands and natural resources minister, Jinapo, made an appeal to me to strictly stick to the prepared speech. I agreed with them, and I respect that.
As I said, no crane me catch almost say, Galamsey ye can, you know, them have me chemu, ye chemu, send me a year, you are nature me and son. A mobile 30% ni moma ye Galamsey nina.
But honestly speaking, let's be honest with ourselves. I can confidently say that about 30% of participants at this dialogue know those people engaged in the Galamsey activities.
Yanka no kre no a ye be dada ye ho e be ye conference ya be ha say me tie ya o mo be ye galamsey ade ba ko se nanan mo ne twa asase ne ma ye o kan o ye nim ha.
Let's be honest. You had people who just came to perform here, and they mentioned that a chief gave out the land to them to engage in the act. I say again, let's be honest with ourselves. Otherwise, we will hold a number of dialogues like this, but the situation will not change.
Person Central and influential member of the governing MPP, Kennedy Agyapong, is also threatening to name some of the highly placed persons involved in the illicit trade.
Na mi fi say emrantia na obehu so mu gina mnanu mu nyina no o mu nyina etubi o sa o ma high wo mu ebi o wa 80 cedis a day.
Yeah, 50 cedis a day.
50 cedis a day. Yaria o mu benya.
I've always held the view that the young men at the Galamsey side are the ones doing the Galamsey. But now I know that there are big wigs within the MPP and the NDC who are actually engaged in the act. They pay 50 Ghana cedis, 60 Ghana cedis to these young men who end up with terminal diseases they take to their families.
Mabu bo companies nina mechire obia MPP a shechire NDC a shechire omunyina because fe de man airtime near aircon airtime papa no fighty but onwa kasa MPP for no omne gunu adia President Akufo-Addo peso.
I'm throwing a challenge to the MPP bigwigs out there engaged in Galamsey to come out and challenge what I'm saying, whether or not they are engaged in the act or not. I have the list, and if I'm challenged, I'm ready and willing to put out the names of the MPP bigwigs who are engaged in the Galamsey activities across the mining regions of the country.
I don't want to speculate. Let me keep this. Picture number office be machines.
People are doing this with impunity. Some have even gone to the extent of branding their mining equipment as one that is coming from the office of the president.
Was it your Jubilee House? Or no machines on the office of the president?
Now joining us for some analysis on how these interventions could influence the fight against Galamsey is Steve Mantia. Thank you very much, Dr. Mantia. Do you think the comments by the Asantehene and the conversations that have started on the back of that could maybe give those in the fight against Galamsey the push they need to go after the so-called untouchables?
Thank you very much. And, well, it may appear that the comment by the Asantehene Otumfuo would kind of incite those who are genuinely fighting Galamsey to go after those who are leading the illegal activity. But you see, the people that we normally go after are not the ones who are the perpetrators. They are only been hired by the kingpin, and so to the extent that they themselves are beneficiaries, as well as the kingpins, it's a network that will be very hard to break. I consider that our fight against Galamsey has been characterized by great pretense. And just like Otumfuo said, we know who the kingpins are, but we haven't been able to gather the political will, the courage to deal with them. And so we seem to be dancing around the problem. And that is precisely what Otumfuo is saying. And I share those comments. Yeah.
Dr. Mantia, what would it take then to get to those kingpins?
You see, I keep making reference to the NREG, the Natural Resource and Environmental Governance Program that the World Bank and the EU supported this country with over $100 million to stem illegality in the mining sector as well as also in the forestry sector. After 10 years of the implementation of the NREG, according to the end of project report, illegality in the mining sector more than doubled. And the reason assigned by the end of project report was that there's so much vested interest in the mining sector, which makes it difficult, almost impossible, to fight the illegality. What that means is that those who are clothed with the power to stop Galamsey are either themselves actively involved in the Galamsey activity or are indirectly benefiting from the activity. And it cuts across from the DC to the chiefs, to the Minerals Commission officers, to the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources officers, everybody who has power, national security and all that, they are all involved. They are all benefited according to the NREG end of project report. So the problem has been defined for us, and we know. Look, I see no reason we have a national security in this country. We have a Bureau of National Investigation in this country, and we cannot identify who the perpetrators are. We can, and we know. Just that because these people are politically connected, it becomes very difficult for the political authority to go after them. And I keep saying that, look, you can send 1,000 soldiers into the bush. Anytime they are withdrawn, all the short-term gains that were made will be lost. Look, even now that we have the soldiers in the bush, we draw them tomorrow and the Galamsey operators will be back. The only way to deter them is to go after the big wigs, incarcerate one person. Look, if you put one chief behind bars, if you put one big party person behind bars, people will be steady and you'll see that you'll be making much more headway in the fight against Galamsey than we have made so far.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Steve Mantiao, for that. You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. We're bringing you business, and coming up in business, plans are underway to ensure all Ghanaians with SIM cards re-register with national IDs. Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia says this is to curb cyber fraud.
Everybody will have to register their SIM with a national ID number. So we all have to do that, otherwise we lose that SIM.
And welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, says plans are underway to ensure that all Ghanaians with SIM cards re-register them with the National Identification Card latest the beginning of July this year. According to him, this is part of plans to rid the country's cyberspace of fraud. He spoke at the 5th Ghana CEO Summit organized in Accra, of which my colleague Bismarck Awusa has...
The exercise, according to Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, will help monitor and track down persons engaged in criminal activities such as SIM box fraud and mobile money fraud. The Vice President, however, noted that any individual who fails to take part in the exercise risks losing his or her phone number.
I expect, as the Minister for Communications and Digitalization, will soon announce that we will all, from maybe end of June or beginning of July this year, everybody will have to register their SIM with a national ID number. So we all have to do that, otherwise we lose that SIM. And that will really give us a real identity for all Momo transactions, for example. And it then takes away fraud that is taking place, whether it's SIM box or through Momo and so on. We will discard all of that.
The Vice President expressed government's commitment to rebuild a resilient economy through policy response and strategies. Meanwhile, Director General of the State Interest and Governance Authority, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, says the authority is charting a new course of partnership with private sector as one of many solutions being churned out for post-pandemic economic recovery.
A strategic partnership that is based on shared interest, inclusive prosperity, and sustainable growth. Leveraging the opportunities offered by the CEO Summit will enable us to remix our leadership styles, transform businesses, and change the way we do business in the private sector.
Managing Director for Ghana Commercial Bank, Kofi Adomako, also addressing the summit, expressed that available credit has been made for creative business pitches and SMEs.
This creates favorable opportunity for co-opetition by aggregating our huge customer base and data. On the back of a successful industry-wide partnership, we will be able to significantly improve the payments landscape and drive the financial inclusion agenda in a cost-effective manner.
First Deputy Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Maxwell Opoku-Afari, says his outfit is committed to supporting financial institutions to ensure the economy is back on the growth path post-COVID-19.
Resetting the economy back to resilience will be a gradual process over the next 2 or 3 years and will require our collective and collaborative support and burden sharing to build back better.
Meanwhile, the telecoms giant MTN says the SIM card re-registration will help in this quest to improve its Know Your Customer policy. Sam Cranton is the Chief Corporate Services Officer of MTN Ghana.
We at MTN, we have always said, and one of our taglines are that we are leading the delivery of a bold new digital world. And in that effort, customer KYC is important. We're currently working with the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization to roll out re-registration of our subscribers as well as all subscribers. And in that vein, it would help to tackle fraud. We, at the back end, have done several initiatives on our systems. We're continuing to engage with all other stakeholders to be able to continue fighting this fraud. And in terms of digital fraud, it is not unique to Ghana. It happens everywhere that the economy has been digitized. But then we, as operators, are doing our part with other stakeholders to ensure that we keep abreast and to make sure customers are protected, and we would be able to curb the fraud activities of those out there. And the KYC would go a long way to help in that regard.
And that's how we end business. Sports is up next. Just stay.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. Gary Al Smith here with the sport. In our first story, veteran football coach J.E. Sapong says nobody can convince him that there is no interference in national team player selections currently. There have been many claims that some GFA officials impose their players on national team coaches. For J.E., though, the claims are not misplaced. He was the main guest on the Joy Sports Link at the weekend.
The teams are formed based on the technical ability of the players. And a selection is made looking at the team you are going to meet, the strengths and weaknesses of the team you are going to meet, who are fit at the training session to meet that team. So sometimes a very good player may be left out on the bench because of what the coach wanted and because he may not play the way he should play against that particular team. It doesn't mean that the player doesn't know how to play. But this is where a management member will go around. Oh, Nat, today I didn't see you in the team. So what happened? Oh, coach, the coach doesn't like me. You know, the coach takes money from the players. That's why today he sent me to go and buy watch. I didn't go. So he's annoyed. A whole lot of stories go around. And this thing moves into the citadel of the national teams.
I see.
Yes. Charity begins at home. So the charity that is beginning at home, it ends at the FA.
I see.
Yes. Nobody can deceive me or tell me, Coach J. Sapong, that there's no interference in the national team. Nobody. I still repeat, nobody. If you open the phone and you tell me.
Moving on, the Black Queens are set to begin camping for the Women's AFCON 2022 qualifiers, which begin next month. The Queens will battle Africa's most successful team, Nigeria. And that will be for a place in next month's Continental Showpiece. There's more in this report by my colleague Muftau Nabil Abdullahi.
The Queens will face Nigeria next month. However, the 2015 Africa Games champions are yet to proceed to camp to start preparations for the AFCON 2022 qualifier. Communications Director of the Ghana Football Association, Henry Asante-Chum, tells Joy Sports the football governing body is putting the right structures in place to ensure the team goes to camp within the shortest possible time.
Immediately after the draw, what I know is that the National Teams Department met the leadership of their team. The first request they made was that we give them the opportunity to move to camp. So intermittently, they may move to camp, report to their clubs and play, and then finish the zonal league. Then they can have 1 full week in camp to put themselves in good stead. So we are planning to move to camp as quickly as possible, and by next week, I'm sure once the issues are finalized, we will the technical team must submit their players, and then they will report to camp to start for preparing for the Nigeria game.
Many have raised concerns about the quality of the Black Queens to match up with the Super Falcons. Henry added that the technical team headed by Mercy Tego allayed these fears, insisting she's got quality enough to get the better of Nigeria.
National teams have not been active for a very long time. I look at that Nigeria team and it is star-studded, yes, on the back of what they did here in Ghana in the last Africa Cup of Nations. And then also their previous participation in the Women's AFCON. They are a very strong team. But we won WAFU tournament when Nigeria was participating. So it means it is possible. I think that Mercy Tego, being a former player who has played at a World Cup on 2 occasions, he's been a referee, he's now a coach. He knows, the psychology part of coaching, and it's very important. And I believe that, when I spoke to her, or when we had the meeting, one of the things she said was that yes, she is happy that the pundits see us as minnows. So once they see us as minnows, we can spring a surprise, and she is ready to spring that surprise. She says she is very upbeat about the chances of the team.
Nigeria are the current defending champions of the AFCON, having beaten South Africa on penalty shootout when the tournament was staged in Ghana.
So that's about it for the sport for now. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary Al Smith. Let's do this again.
Right, let's get on to my Joy Online and see the top stories there. Mahama's Dumsor is different from Akufo-Addo's. That's a former chief executive of the Volta River Authority. Task force destroys excavators allegedly belonging to MPP women's organizer. We pay big money, taxes, and yet they burn our equipment. That's Extra Gold Mining Company. The system has failed us again. Father of 12-year-old who died due to unavailability of ambulance service. And police await final report on 2-year-old boy sacrificed by father. So you can get to my Joy Online and get to read more of those stories. But that's it for those of you watching on Joy Prime. There's more news on the Joy News channel. Up next, we're bringing you Showbiz with Becky Bex. Welcome back to Joy News Prime. Ghana's land management system is saddled with complex lapses which have led to the creation of the monster enterprise, popularly known as landguardism. In our latest Hotline documentary, my colleague Latif Idris explores how the new Land Act could help sanitize a system that has fueled family and clan conflicts and led to the killing of many prospective landowners.
Fire him! Fire him! Fire him! Shot him! Shot him! Shot him! Shot him!
Everybody knows these criminals are called landguards. They are doing it with the support of the Police Divisional Commander, ACPJ. In this area, we call him the landguards commander.
Because we have documents to show that Chief sold the land to what?
This is Kaswa, and this part of town is called Peace Town. But I tell you what, there is nothing peaceful about this town. If there is ever a safe haven for land guards and landguardism, this is it.
29th March, and the boy say yeah Juma ewo fie ha na ye frɛ me say nkrofo bi aba abeje omoneyama.
The date was March 29, 2021, when laborers working on my project, which you see now in ruins, called to complain to me that masked men on motorbikes had come to prevent them from working, and then subsequently demolished the building.
According to me, tenant for no say, nkofo buy no mutiti motor so mo nipa 12 almost is a max. And budan the tenant for me no no mo fie a mo hu wom, but o mo hu wom anim o mo catch them so mo nyai kra na o so mo inside a o mo ku wom. Langard for bebrebe nyina no eye nipa mpanifo bi o mo ske bi.
The Langas are giving us a hard time here in Kaswa, Peace Town, and we know there are powerful people behind who are even making the work of the crime officer almost impossible.
Now the law says if you unlawfully, exercise control or supervision of a land, that is, you don't own it, you don't have what we call interest in that land. In law, when we say interest in land, it will connote what I may loosely use as ownership. And then you try to exercise control. You try to exercise supervision. If you sought to do that, then you will be in trouble. And by also doing that, seeking to prevent a developer, somebody who has acquired interest properly in the land, seeking to prevent them from developing their land, then now the law says you are in trouble. You could be going to jail for between 5 to 15 years. Custodial. There's no option of you being fined or being cautioned. And that for me is very good, will bring some sanity. If you conducted yourself in using force and acts of violence to intimidate, to, as it were, obstruct someone who has acquired the land properly from being able to develop that land, you, upon conviction, will be looking to go to jail minimum 5 years, but there's a maximum sentence of 15 years. There's no room for a fine.
The entire documentary is showing in just about 13 minutes. To stay tuned in for that. Now, some traders who were affected by a demolition exercise at Rawlings Park Sunday night are pleading with government to stop the Accra Metropolitan Assembly from evicting them. The traders stormed the AMA offices Monday morning over claims their stalls have been demolished without prior notice. The exercise is said to have affected about 1,200 petty traders. There's more in this report.
Members of the Petty Traders Association marched up at the AMA office protesting the destruction of their containers on Sunday night.
This is the only job we do to cater for our wives and children. They have destroyed all our items without informing us. And when we came to plead, they are telling us to leave. What else should we do?
Na sesi corona mbremo ukuta kwala 5 na baby o ye adman kakra ka na esi ye 2 a sister infa na yeko ye nya Ghana for sa na mu ya nkofo ja muti tukwan ko Saudi na ekokukum ebi wo ebi sikan.
About 1,200 petty traders have had their stalls and containers demolished by the AMA here at the Rawlings Park. Now, this park, which was originally demarcated as a parking lot, was encroached by the years by these petty traders. Now, the AMA, according to the PRO of the Petty Traders Association, has demolished these stores due to claims of losing income.
We are the association and we went to the AMA office. We've already write our petition to them, and Today we do the follow-up. What they are saying, the place is choked and the assembly is losing the revenue. So they're supposed to sack everybody from here so that they get a space for the park.
Some traders accuse the AMA of wanting to get rid of them so they could bring their own containers to rent to traders. Their spokesperson, however, says those claims are unsubstantiated.
No, that one is not true. AMA did not say that one to us. It's just a misinformation that people are just saying their own. But AMA did not say such a thing.
The traders nonetheless want government to intervene. I am constantly under the sun with an umbrella over my head. Where will I go if they sack me? Where will my poor children go? We are begging government, have mercy on us. Have mercy.
Yes, Renana. No, the regional minister by.
We are begging the president. He was the one who appointed the regional minister. If the NPP does all it can to ensure a clean city, and the NDC comes to rather help the market women, what then is the essence of having a clean city? We have children and we are suffering. This is all we do to take care of them. We are pleading with government to help us. Judith Awachitando, Joy News.
Hello and welcome to Business. Some oil marketing companies have indicated their readiness to increase prices at the pumps this week. Now, this follows projection of another hike in fuel prices by about 3% today. George Riafi has more.
Companies in Ghana mostly depend on these bulk oil distribution firms for their supplies. Now, every 2 weeks, based on the current price deregulation policy, these bulk oil distribution companies give out new prices to these oil marketing firms on how they are planning to sell their products. It is based on this practice that the bulk oil distribution firms for the second price window have indicated that each litre may not be sold by not more than 3%. Now, judging from what has happened over the past week, observers were looking forward to these oil marketing firms absorbing the hike. But some of them have told Joy Business that this might be very difficult, looking at the recent taxes placed on their products and their dwindling fortunes. They've argued that maybe the best way out for now might just be a marginal increase, or maybe just under 1% hike. However, some have argued that whatever that may happen in the industry, the big three, that is GOIL, Shell and Total, may still have the final say as to whether prices will really go up or they would actually absorb the expected hike. Now, based on the data that we have secured from these bulk oil distribution companies, petrol is expected to be increased by some 2.19% per litre, while diesel should go up by some 2.36% per litre.
Now, the Bank for Investment and Development has lent $50 million to the Consolidated Bank of Ghana. Now, this follows the line of credit agreement signed by both banks. According to the president of IBID, Dr. George Ejekum Donko, this is a step to strengthen ties with countries under the body. There is more in this report.
Bank for Investment and Development has signed a line of credit agreement with the Consolidated Bank of Ghana. The loan facility of $50 million is to support contractors who undertake construction of roads in Ghana. Speaking at the signing ceremony, President of IBID, Dr. George Ejekum Donko, indicated that road infrastructure is key in socio-economic development of a country, hence his outfit's investment in the sector.
I am very happy that today we are signing this historic agreement where we are going to make available to CBG an amount of $50 million. To be honest with you, the money even has been put on placement for quite a long time. We are very happy to collaborate with CBG because the new model that we are contemplating is that we want to now give money to banks and the corporate institutions for on lending. We are trying not to go straight to individual promoters because of the experiences that we have had in the past. So this fund, as we are going to disburse, is going to support your expansion project in terms of also encouraging the road infrastructure in this country. What I'm trying to say is that we are also going to on-lend to the contractors who are also undertaking various projects in Ghana. This is very, very important because if you look at the government strategic plan, road infrastructure is key, and we know, we know it as a driver to economic and the socio-economic development in our community.
Managing Director of the Consolidated Bank of Ghana, Daniel Addo, assures that the interest rates on the loan will be favorable to the contractors. According to him, CBG has a reputation of managing risks properly, hence getting the fund.
There's absolutely no doubt that these funds will go into road infrastructure. I believe that IBID chose to collaborate with us because they're very sure that we will do what we say we will do. They also chose to collaborate with us because of the kind of risk management and the kind of an understanding of the environment here. We've had plenty of conversations and discussions with the Ministry of Roads and the Department of Urban Roads. So we're clear on what the uses of this facility are for, and will ensure that they're done. We'll do just that. The interest rates will be very competitive and very favorable because we're getting same competitive and favorable rates from IBID, and it's only fair that we pass on those cost savings, if you like, to our customers.
Let's now bring you a summary of international business news. Of course, and that's how we end business. I'm Charles Aite. The program.
Contestants from Archbishop Porter Girls Senior High School say although they have qualified for the National Science and Maths Quiz Championship, they are not satisfied with their 38 points. They say they will work hard towards the national competition. 10 schools will qualify out of 45 schools in the ongoing Western and Western North regional qualifiers for the main NSMQ competition in October.
Girls, are you excited?
Yeah. We really expected more than this today, but throughout the contest we realized that it's not just about saying it, it's much more about working harder to get the points, and we've realized our mistakes. Okay. So even though we've won, this is not the highest peak. We still are doing our best to get more points at the national stage. So expect the very best from us. We will go back.
Okay, is Archbishop Porter Girls going to break the genes of a girls school not winning the competition ever after 2 decades?
Okay, so it depends on our perseverance and our hard work. So if we put in much effort, we believe by the grace of God that we'll be able to break that.
Okay, so should we expect that?
Well, yeah, more or less. Yes.
More of it. Okay, great. Thank you. Let me talk to your science and maths coordinator, Matthew Attap. Matthew, tell us, what's the feeling like in your camp right now?
For today, this is not what we were expecting.
Okay.
Yes, this is not the way my girls display.
All right, we wish them all the best. That'll be it for the bulletin. But up next, we're bringing you our documentary, Land Wars. Do stay tuned in.